thank you guys for listening to the Locked In Podcast. However you are listening to us, whether it is Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, or our new YouTube page, Locked In with 2 N's. We appreciate you guys tuning in. It is the community's podcast. We are the people's podcast. And going forward, we have amazing guests. It's almost like a Spruce Creek edition episode.
Spruce Creek!
We have Coach Tramont, Chase Tramont, the boys basketball head coach. We have the privilege of having him in.
Also a politician. You got to check him out. City council man.
Yeah.
Big ups.
He's a beast. So
Next
we have him
of
in.
the United States of America.
We have him in representing Spruce Creek boys basketball program, as well as, I'll say it, the star player Max Oles, who broke the 3-point record, both in the studio at the same time.
The record breaker man himself, Max Oles, a stud junior player, coming big things.
Yes, sir. And then we also have Coach Hamm for Spruce Creek girls basketball program,
Final Four.
They are the first time ever going to the Final Four. So we had the privilege of having him in to talk about that experience, his program, and like always, we debated about NBA, whether Chris Paul has underachieved, and the cheap Zaza. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. But Dave, don't we have something else?
Also, yes, guys, check out the T-shirts. We're wearing it all the time. We got producer Sean in the house, like always, wearing the Locked In shirts. Shop.spreadshirt.com/lockedin with 2 N's. Buy a shirt. I'm serious.
Or a hoodie.
Buy a shirt.
Hoodie.
I like it. There's like 12 colors. Forest green.
Yeah.
Teal.
Yeah. You can get like
Pink for the lovely ladies of the Locked In community.
there's baby onesies. You can get dog bandanas.
You know what I'm going to start doing, Produce? I'm going to start talking to all the ladies out there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. But back, guys, Spruce Creek High School. Listen, download, subscribe. This is a great episode. Max, hit him.
Also, our social media accounts, all of them. We have Facebook, Locked In with 2 N's. Make sure you like that Locked In Facebook page and join the Locked In community, which, yes, producer, it is a Locked In a group. So we want your feedback. If you disagree with us, you want to debate with us, you agree, you want to get on the show, contact us through there. And also Instagram and Twitter, Locked In with 2 N's, as well as YouTube.
You forgot one thing there.
What did
Don't
I?
forget,
JT
you
Money,
can
by the way.
Call or text us. Look that up on the Facebook page. Don't forget to do that. We want to hear from you.
Wow, you can call us now?
Yeah, leave us a voice message. You never know. You might be played on the show.
Wow.
Most likely will. If
That's
you do.
why he's called JT Money. In case you guys don't know, Sean the producer, JT Money, and Dave and I.
That sounds great, guys. All right. Stay locked in. Listen to the episode. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for listening to Locked In on Apple Podcast. We're everywhere now, right, Dave?
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio,
Stitcher Radio.
Spotify, YouTube,
Yeah,
which
a lot of
I
apps.
accidentally directed everybody to go to. So if you did find us on Facebook Live, thank you. You're a true fan. The producer, as always, Sean.
What up?
And we have JT Money, who always
What up?
works the magic behind the scenes. But today we have the privilege of having the Spruce Creek boys basketball head coach and a good friend of mine, Chase Tramont, in the studio. And I'll say it, the star player, Max Oles, even though he doesn't want to say star, Max Oles in the studio. We're going to talk about Spruce Creek, everything that involves the program, and we're also going to break down some NBA and how Zaza should get kicked out of the NBA.
Oh, my gosh.
What's going on,
Good,
guys?
Solid player that hustles. I love those guys.
And injures people for a living. I could do that. Anyway, so what's going on, Coach? What's going on, Max? Feels weird saying my own name, but what's going on? How about Mr. Oles? You doing good?
Yeah.
What's going on, Coach? You said you've been on the radio station before, so I expect nothing but greatness.
Well, I haven't been on to talk about sports so much, more so politics, but it's good to be with you guys tonight.
You'll be surprised. I could do a little bit of both.
All right.
No, I'm playing. Let's stick to sports.
politics. Oh, my gosh.
Let's stick to sports. But obviously, Spruce Creek is one of the most respected and high, I don't know how you'd say it. I think it's just high-regarded high schools in the area, whether it's the academics, their athletics are always on part. And it's awesome to have you guys in to talk about Spruce Creek. So obviously you represent Spruce Creek as the head coach there. What was your experience like so far this season?
Well, that's a loaded question, my friend. Spruce Creek certainly, first of all, does have a rich history. You go back all the way to the 70s when it first got started.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that have come through, Ernie Cook, David Howard, who played in the 80s as well, the John Fedors, the Roman Oles of the day, the guys that have...
the legend himself.
The guys that have come through have really built that program. And the great coaches that they've had. David Howard also, John Fedor. Who was the other guy? Right before Dave Fedor. Right before Dave, you had I'm drawing a blank. Played in the coach.
We had Joe Giddens. I know that.
Yeah, I was coming up to Joe.
I'm
but
sorry. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm pretty
No,
good
no, no.
with radio and politics.
No, I'm thinking of Romanishin. That's right. I'm thinking of Jim Romanishin. I'm going old school right here.
All right. I knew David Howard, to be honest. That's
and
pretty
then,
much it.
and then of course, the great Joe Giddens. Being on his staff for 5 years, he was the guy that was responsible for getting me down here from Atlanta. Very grateful for that. So a lot of big shoes to fill that I had no intention of trying to fill, just trying to wear my own shoes while I was doing it. And the experience overall, had its ups and downs. For me, as a competitor, to try to win, with the cards we were dealt, I enjoyed it as a competitor. The challenge was, we had very limited experience. Hard to win when you have limited experience that we had. I mean, you go back and look at the talent pool that we had. We had good talent. We had very good shooters, good fundamental ball players, smart kids, but people that have never played at this type of level. You're talking about recreation has been the highlight of most of the players, and that's not a slight against them, and that's nothing that I haven't.
I grew up in the recreation, Port Orange. That was my life.
Well, in an age where, in an era where now travel and competitive ball is where you're going to go to get challenged and where your competition is going to be, that's where the rubber meets the road. You find out what you're made of. So, and that's what most of these high school teams are filled with. They've played against some of the best competition that the country has to offer. So while we've got guys who just up until playing on varsity were playing summer PAL ball.
Just a different beast itself.
It's an entirely different level of basketball, and there's a false sense of security that you have at the JV level when you go 16-1, which these guys did last year, and hats off to them for that. But there's a false reality, or there's a false sense of security that sets in that you think that level, that success at that level is going to automatically translate to the varsity level.
No, sir.
Does not
faster.
do it.
Yeah.
It does not do it. The game's faster, it's stronger, it's tougher, it's more physical, and you're playing against different players.
I just realized, so those that are tuning in that don't know, we know obviously, people locally most do. You are a ball player of yourself. Can you just kind of give us a history of yourself? And I'm not trying to make you brag about yourself, but you were an awesome basketball.
First step.
Yeah.
Quick
that first step
right
always
here.
got me. I know I'm already slow, so that didn't help. But that quick first step made it worse. You could shoot. So can you kind of just give us your history? Because a lot of people knew you when you took this head coaching job because you were such a great player.
That's about all I had was a quick first step and a quick release on the shot. And that's really all you do need when you're playing the game. Because I was never the fastest guy from one end of the court to the other, but I was the quickest guy from one step to the next step. I'll get to A to B faster than most guys will if it's within a 5 to 6 foot radius, which that's where I attacked from. I grew up in the area, played ball at Spruce Creek in the 90s, transferred to Mainland my senior year. I transferred because the guys that I had played varsity with at Creek for 3 years had all transferred. So I would have been at a massive rebuilding year. And that's just not something that I wanted to do my senior year.
Why did they all transfer?
I'm sorry?
Why did the rest
They
of
all
your team
graduated.
transfer? Oh, they all graduated?
They all graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to be. Did I say they transferred?
Yeah.
All right. No. I transferred my senior year
Okay.
because everybody else had graduated, and I didn't want to be a part of a rebuilding year my senior year.
Sure.
And I grew up with a lot of the guys over at Mainland playing ball with those guys. They needed a point guard. I felt.
So you were a point guard, not a shooting guard?
I was a point guard who shot the ball.
Allen Iverson.
You're saying Allen. I was going to say Steph Curry. That came to mind because if you talk about quick release, the quick first step, I could argue Steph Curry's not. I'm not saying like Steph Curry in my mind is the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And so when you have a shot in a quick first step, like how you mentioned, how deadly that can be, I could argue Curry's not the most athletic out of a handful top 10 point guards. He may be the least athletic, but his first step and his shot is unmatched.
Yeah, well, and that's what he works on.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want to separate yourself, and I tell my guys this all the time. I don't need 10 guys who are the same players who work on the same strengths. You find a way to define yourself, to separate yourself from everybody else. What can you give me that nobody else does? So that's the biggest challenge for most players today. And what I did was focused heavily on a quick first step and a quick release. And I was the smartest guy on the smartest guy on the floor. I had to be because I wasn't the tallest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest. And I had such limited athletic ability. So I ended up transferring to Mainland. We won state my senior year over there and played 4 years college at Flagler College. And, I went into the ministry for 10 years and now I've been teaching. Here I am now.
In the locked-in studio. So whatever you did to get you here, you did right. Anyway.
You went to Kennesaw State?
I did for my when I went back to school to get my education degree.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that while I was working full time over there. I still consider Flagler my home.
Now, Max. So, God, I said I wouldn't call you Max. Mr. Oles. When we're obviously talking about the beginning of the season, expectations, what was like your goals going into the season? Like your individual goals. I know I always set them for myself. Working with Coach Tramont, I needed to get faster. I needed to get my shot faster. I needed to attack the rim more aggressive, get stronger. What were your goals going into it, and did you succeed in those goals?
My goals were probably get to the free throw line more, and I thought I did that. But I had about 7 games straight where I didn't get to the game or the free throw line, and just trying to score in different ways, not just catch and shoot threes.
Mm-hmm. And when you say by getting to the line, is that building your strength? Is it being more aggressive? What gets you to the line more?
Confidence in my ball handling to get past whoever's in front of me, get to the basket.
I like that.
James Harden, he gets to the foul line, leading scorer in the league.
Do you have a problem with that, by the way? James Harden get to the free throw line as much as he does?
No, he wants to get to the free throw line. It's the easiest
In
shot.
the way he puts the ball out
Yeah,
in
he
front so
creates
people
the
attack his
fouls.
arms?
He creates the contact. It's smart.
I
I like Max's answer there. I like it.
No,
That's
it's
a smart
genius.
answer.
So now going forward, what do you feel you need to work on the most?
Off the dribble threes and transition threes.
Wow. Those are all the right answers moving forward. Do you see it? I remember talking to you, Coach. I don't know how much NBA you watch, but obviously the game has shifted a lot towards the three-point shot. Even when I was in high school, there wasn't people that shot this many threes. It's like when you go to any high school game, which team hits more threes almost wins the game now. Would you say your coaching has changed to the three-point shot?
I adjust to the players that I have. And that's what you have to do at the high school level. If you've got a bunch of three-point shooters, and you try to get three-point shooters or three-point shots for them. If you've got an inside presence, and you want to pack it inside. If you can't shoot the ball, then run as many quick hitters as you can to get a layup. But you got to adjust to who you are. As far as the three-point shot in the NBA goes, I got to confess I don't watch the NBA. I rarely, and I'll be honest with you, all my life I have never watched basketball on television.
And this was the only bone I had to pick with you, is we debated about everything basketball but the NBA, and I could argue that's where I debate with everyone the most. What is it about the NBA that you never liked?
I never liked watching college either. I never liked watching, period. I always felt
What
like
did you do?
I played.
Oh, that makes
I
sense.
I always felt like I was on the bench if I was watching the game. So instead of watching games, I was out there playing. So I didn't watch. I mean, you watched your NBA finals, and I watched the March Madness, and I am proud to say I watched Christian Laettner hit that shot against Kentucky.
Grant Hill threw the ball in.
And I, so I spent time watching time to time, but I was not I was a student of the game as a player, not from a analyzer as far as what these guys are doing. I would be honest with you, the most times when I would watch is when I wanted to pick up a move. I wanted to see what was working out there, and then I would would go to the gym and I'd implement it myself.
I absolutely love the NBA. So as much as I would like to, I mean, I think that's one thing I learned from you most is if you're not working hard, somebody else is, that kind of thing. And we'd always put up the most shots every day. You can't, if you miss 2 in a row, you have to restart. And when I first started shooting, I missed 2 in a row almost every time. So I shot just nonstop, and he would just get around in one turn. But eventually it started to amp up where I'd get there.
Because it's a different generation, Max, and Roman's in the studio here. He'll tell you that when I was a kid, and then when he was as well, you get to the gym at 9 a.m. when it opened, and you spent 3 hours and you worked on your game, and then you brought your lunch with you, and you ate lunch for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. About 12:45 is when all the older guys would start showing up.
See, now you can't do that
and
because
the games
Port
would,
Orange Rec, I'm sorry to cut you off, you can't play with the 18 or older. That's like some rules gyms have set, and I have like a huge issue with this because you get better by playing people that are older, bigger, stronger, and they're just better players than you. So if you and I were to try to do what we did, if we can go back in time with the rules now, we wouldn't have been able to.
Good point. I'm glad you knew that, and I happen to know some people on the city council of Port Orange who look into that because I was not aware that.
I'm a politician. I said it before we started.
Great people on the Port Orange City Council. I just want to.
Yeah, and I grew up in the Port Orange Rec basketball courts. That's where I shot. And then when one day I went and they're like, "Max, you're 18 today." I'm like, "Yep." And they're like, "Oh, you come in anymore unless you're in the mornings." I'm like, "I wanted to get some shots up. He's a grade below me. I wanted to help him out." And they're like, "Oh no, you can't do that." And I'm like, I wouldn't have been the player I was if it wasn't for Dalton Barnes, if it wasn't for Kyle Clark, if it wasn't for all these older kids beating the crap out of me. I wouldn't have gotten better. I would just beat up on people my age.
But kids can still find a way to do it.
That's true.
You figure it out. If the gym's closed at 9, then go to Silver Sands at 9 and find the shaded area and shoot, and then go to the gym when it opens. And if you can't play against older guys, which I wasn't able to do from time to time, then you know what you do? You find a bunch of kids who are playing and ask if you can play 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 or 4-on-1 or 5-on-1 There was a time when I played a group of kids 10-on-1, just for the heck of it.
Did you win?
Frankly, I don't remember, but you know what? And obviously they weren't very good, but but I can look. It's stuff like that nobody does, and that's why. I and so many others had the success that we had because we went out and we did it. We didn't just want the success. We worked for it. You can't wish yourself to have greatness. You got to work to get it. And that's where this generation is lacking today. They want to spend more time watching the game than playing the game. And
I'm hoping you're looking at me because, we're on the radio, not just because I watch the games now.
Not at all. No, I'm having a dialogue with you.
All right,
You're hitting a real a nerve. You're not hitting a personal nerve with me, but this is an issue that this is something I have taken issue with for years with this for this game. I'm a purist when it comes to the game of basketball.
No, I love it. I do. I love it. Max, I want to ask you a question because this is what I struggled with my first 2 years. I was in the IB program when I was at Creek, and my mom was very strict on my grades. If I got anything below a C, I wasn't allowed to play. And that actually hindered my high school career because I didn't play really my first 2 years because of that. How do you, as a student athlete, handle your academics and playing basketball every night? Like whether it's grinding like Coach Tramont says, just late at night shooting, games, practice. How do you do that?
Just at lunch. I go in a lot at lunch. On the bus. 2 games. After practice. Just
whenever you can.
You have to find time.
I think that's something I wish I would have known my first 2 years. I did it my junior and senior year. I finished with straight A's because I didn't sit with everyone during lunch. I did and just went like you just said in the classroom. But like when you go to college, you obviously hope to play in college. Like the academics are only harder, you know what I mean? And the assignments are only harder and longer. So if you build that the good habits in now, I feel like that will just help tremendously because there's a lot of kids now who have talent but don't have the grades. And I think student athlete, and I think some people forget that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I got to drink some water, bro. Hold on.
No worries. Max, tell us about that 3-point night. 3-point record a couple weeks ago, right? Is that something that going into it you thought you had a chance?
Time to go off the air now?
Oh, man.
How many attempts did it take?
18.
18?
That's above 50%.
That's not bad. That's great.
That's amazing. But so take us through it.
I wasn't really feeling like I didn't really, because I heard the team wasn't that good, so it's just a game. And then
Mhm.
I walked in the gym, and it was like not a good gym at all. And I just looked at the rims, and I was like, I just feel like I'm gonna shoot the ball good in these gyms. Then at halftime, we were shooting around. I probably only hit one shot. In warm-ups, I wasn't hitting. And then I came out and hit the first 3 in the first quarter, and it was just like. And then I hit my 4th one in the second quarter, and I looked over at him and told him I'm going to break his record.
Dang. Right to him. That's some big words that's some big shoes to fill. So if you didn't have, you would have ran, right? I'll tell you that right now. So 6 go in, you hit 10, right?
Yeah.
How much pressure was it to hit that 10th 3?
That's probably the amount I took was probably because I shot 3 and missed them, and then I made that 4th one to hit the 10. So I could have probably went like 10 for 15 or 14, really.
Wow. Did you look him in the eyes when you hit it? I would have.
Yeah, I walked right over.
Right you. How did you feel, Coach?
I said in my head, that little bastard.
I thought he was going to say proud or
Yeah,
really
that was
honored
good.
to pass the
Nah.
torch. That little bastard. I love it.
Nobody wants to have their record broken, I mean, from a.
I was supposed to break that.
I loved, from a sentimental standpoint, I love coming in there and seeing it. I love bringing my kids in there and showing them Dad's name up there. But at the same time, records are made to be broken, and I couldn't have selected a more appropriate player to have gotten it. Having grown up with his dad, and knowing the boy since he was sixth grade, I think, is when he told me he was going to do it. Yeah, he predicted that for a number of years that he did it. And when he said, and listen, let me tell you, that team was no slouch. All right, they did not have a good record, but they were scrappy.
You played hard.
We played very well that night, and when we are playing well, we're capable of beating some very good teams, and we're capable of beating good teams very badly. And so that was the case of that night. That wasn't a cakewalk. And he knows my feeling on that. I told him, I said, listen, I'm not going to let somebody break any record against a team where you're winning by 60. That to me, that's not a broken record. That's padding your stats. And he was on fire. I think he hit the 5 in the first quarter. So. Yeah, I knew right away it was his night, so I had the night to kind of brace for it, and
See you sweating over there like, damn, he's about to break my record.
yeah, no, and people ask me all the time, why didn't you take him out? And no, I was never going to do that. I mean, I was going to take him out, and I told him, I said, listen, you got a few minutes, because we had a playoff game coming up, and I know he's got 2 more years, he's plenty of time to break it. More important to me than even him getting an opportunity to break the record is getting an opportunity to go to the state playoffs. So we had districts coming up, and he had I think he was at 8, and it was the beginning of the 4th quarter. So I wasn't going to take him out, but I did say, listen, you got a couple minutes. I'll get you at about the 4-minute mark, and I think he hit his 9th one. And then it was right about the 4-minute mark, so I kind of said, "All right." I wasn't going to take him out then, but he wasn't going to finish the game just to do it. That wouldn't have been the right thing. So he had about another 30 seconds, and he got about 10 shots up in that 30 seconds. So.
I would have done the same thing. I would have.
And I'll tell you what, and it was very, it was good. All the guys were behind him; they were getting involved, and. It was certainly a very good moment. I was honored to be a part of it, and I got to share a nice moment with him right after. Walked right over to him, and gave each other a big hug right there on the court, and was able to call timeout real quick and just let him have that celebration.
That's terrific. Congratulations, by the way. I never actually got to tell you face to face.
Yeah,
Congratulations. 10
thank you.
threes is incredible.
Very cool. We're on Facebook Live.
Yep.
Of course, we're rolling. We got our host or producer, JT Buddy, the Facebook host. I just made that up.
So Coach Giddens is checking in. He
Yep.
says, you guys are looking good, but he told I guess Max told him in 8th grade he was going to beat it. He told Coach Giddens this.
He told me in 6th grade, Joe.
Wow.
Appreciate you
And,
tuning in, though.
Yeah, good luck tomorrow
since
night.
he's tuning in, man, Coach Joe, I wore blue and gold today in honor of Mainland Buck Pride. So congratulations.
Elite 8?
They made the Elite 8, the furthest they've been in a long time. So he's a right man for that job. I was extremely happy as a Buck. Extremely happy when Joe got that job, and just a perfect fit. He's been wanting to go home for a long time, and he belonged at home. And he single-handedly put Spruce Creek on the map. I say Spruce Creek has had a rich history in basketball, but they've never been statewide known as a basketball powerhouse. Joe Giddens made that happen.
Coach Joe, if you're still watching, I want a one-on-one game with you. Basketball. The
You
one
don't want
guy
that.
I've
You don't want that, Max.
never been able to beat him my entire life. And
You're not going to beat him now.
I'm very proud of you. And I appreciate you coming by. You're always welcome. But I do want my one-on-one.
He's
Good
got
luck.
Good luck against Hillsborough,
Yeah,
Joe.
good luck, good luck. He had a good luck locked-in
Pride.
mojo. He
Yeah.
came on. They won 2 straight.
Locked in was correct.
I know.
I said they would win that game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Coach Hamm, Final Four,
Yeah.
locked in, so that you can just bet your money on it. By the way, I reminded everybody of their locked in before the show. Just make sure you keep that in your mind. But, Coach, I have a couple more questions for you. Mine is with such a tough mentality that I don't think a lot of people have. And that's what I admired most about you is just learning that from you. Is it hard? Is it harder for you now that you're a coach? You can't physically be out there on the court.
Very hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
Really?
And I've done a lot of difficult things.
So just not being able to go out there and just keeping your calm.
Yeah, I was a point guard, and the point guard is a guy with the ball. He makes it happen. Everything runs through the guy. He's got the ball 80% of the time. He's the guy that makes the decisions. He's the quarterback. He's the pitcher. I mean, he's everything. So to be on the floor and not have the ball in my hands, very difficult thing. I have to trust somebody else to implement what I want out there.
Mhm.
And that is not an easy thing to do. It's very frustrating, particularly in this generation. It's very frustrating because I have very high expectations, and my players, they got a very rude awakening this year, and they know that. It was if Max opens his mouth tonight, he'll tell you about how his thoughts were. I think our team. And Max, you can probably speak to this. It's all right. We're not in season. I can't make you run right now. But I think think my players this year had a different expectation of the type of coach I was going to be, because a lot of them had me in class where I'm very low key. I'm
You have a couch in your
relaxed.
classroom. I remember that.
Yeah. We're pretty chilled. I'm passionate about what I do in there. I love what I do. But they've never seen that competitive side in me before.
Oh, wow. Coach Joe called me out now. All right.
Do you still play any of the adult leagues? I know like Jason Williams was doing an adult league in Orlando for a little bit there. Do you play at all?
I don't. Sometimes I run with the guys, but I am a city councilman. I do a lot in our community. I have 4 children. I have one special needs that requires one of us to be there with them. I have a 16-year-old who works a lot. I have a 13-year-old that plays softball, and I've got a 2-year-old. So I'm on daddy duty. I don't get the opportunity to go out and play in leagues, and I don't need to do that anymore. My competitive spirit is filled with coaching these guys. But to answer your question, it's very hard to do. Like I said, these guys had a different expectation of what type of coach I was going to be, and when they found that out, frankly, none of them liked it.
You cracked me up. Oh, my gosh. What would you say the future holds for Spruce Creek? And this is for both of you. Max, presumably
Especially
you
like
first.
the next
Yeah.
2-3 years. You're an upperclassman now, junior, senior. I think a lot of people in the city, we've had 386 hoop scene in here. Everyone says you're going to be big primetime, basketball player in this county for the next 2 big years.
So
What's your expectations?
Next year, we will definitely be one of the best teams around here, because now that they all have had this year, I should say, because I didn't have that great of a varsity experience my freshman year, and now that we all have that,
Year under your belt.
yeah, like comfortableness and know like
Mhm.
how the varsity is, I think they'll like.
You got the year under your belt. You got the kinks worked out.
Experience.
Yeah, you just worked all the chemistry out. So next year is your year, Spruce Creek's year. I'm not trying to answer the question for you. I just know Maxes have something common. It's just in the minds right there. So for yourself individually, like you said, you just want to shoot off the dribble better and pack Spruce Creek gyms, right?
Yeah, for sure, because nobody comes to any games. That's got to change in the
Really?
next 2 years.
Yeah, we've been saying that for every
Yeah, we-
school, whether it's Atlantic,
We're
Mainland, Creek. That's we want the whole community to come together and just support the local sports because you guys, and I'm saying you guys like I'm that much older than you, but the players now, you guys are going to be the ones in college and the ones that go further and further. So everyone needs to rally and support that. And Coach, what is your expectations for next year as well?
I have very high hopes. You know, we did not have the season that we wanted to.
Mhm.
I think we had the record that was pretty much predicted by most people in the area. I don't think anybody expected much from us, and rightfully so. This is a massive rebuilding year. I mean, we had one guy with real varsity experience back, and that one guy, Clint Hubbard, was a heck of a player, but he's a role player. He's got to be surrounded. When he's surrounded by superstars, then he rises up to become an even better player. That was a huge role, huge responsibility to put on his shoulders to be the guy that carried the team. That's not his role. That's not where he's most fitted.
Like a Draymond Green. Draymond Green's a great role player for the Golden State Warriors, but if he's the best player on a team, it wouldn't work.
Yeah,
He
he's
needs
on the
to
Magic.
be-
We don't know who Draymond Green really is.
Yeah, a very good point. So I have high expectations for our guys next year based on how the year ended. You know, anybody that knows basketball would look at our season as a success. Anybody that doesn't know the game, that is just an average parent or somebody just kind of trolling through and watching a few games here and there or trolling social media.
They don't see what you guys see.
No, they don't see what a basketball purist would see. They don't see what a competitor would see. They just see the bottom line, and that doesn't tell the story. These guys became competitors by the end of the year. You know, the last game against DeLand is a prime example. We got beat by 40 at their place. It was a 7-point game with a minute and a half left on their floor in the district semifinals. 7-point game. And we took these guys, and you take away 2 minutes in the first half, and we're in a position to actually win that game, not just take it to the wire. I mean, we could have won that game. So that's a massive swing. And we played well, and DeLand played well for that matter. It's not that they had a bad game. We made them have.
Just came to play,
we
yeah.
made them not have their best game because we accomplished what we set out to do on the defensive end, and we executed on the offensive end. And I walked into the locker room at the end of that last game, and I see 5, 6, 7 kids crying. They have genuine tears coming out of their eyes. And I said, boys, I've been waiting all year to see this. This is what it looks like, and this is what it feels like in a locker room after you lose. It wasn't like that this year. You know, Max will tell you, and I know Max was bothered by that at times. But when you are in a locker room after a game and you're able to smile and you're able to laugh and you're able to carry on a conversation like you just came from the mall, that's a problem.
Yeah, I can never do that.
You can't win with that. You're not competitors. You're actors. You're acting like a competitor when it's game time, but you're not a real competitor because you don't want to put in the effort that it takes. These guys became competitors.
So next
The problem is it just waited too long to care. If we had that feeling in the locker room 10 games ago, we'd have been playing that following Friday night. As a matter of fact, we wouldn't even been playing at that 7 o'clock game on that Wednesday night. We'd have been playing at the 5:30 game because we'd have been ranked higher. And that comes with experience. That comes with getting older. That comes with maturity. That comes with playing at this level for a period of time. Eventually it sinks in.
You develop those skills to adapt, to adjust, and then like you said, the varsity level is a completely different game. So now next year you guys just have a year under your belt.
I think so. You know, we have our system in place. Our system works. When we go out and execute, when we just try to do our own thing, they recognize it doesn't work for them. Doesn't work. But when we put in, when we run our sets, you don't gamble on defense. You box out. You got to do the little things out there, because that's really what killed us. The not doing the little things. I mean, Max can tell you he was right in the thick of it. He can tell you what the feeling was like in the beginning of the year. He can tell you what it was like in the mid-season in the locker rooms after the game and in halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would venture to say, he can tell you that it was a whole different ball game because it was an entirely different team at the end of the year. And that's what my goal was around Christmas time. I wanted to finish with momentum going in the summer. Get these guys in a position where they believe what I believed about them,
Mm-hmm.
that they can play this game. And when you've got Atlantic up by 6 at the half at our place, after we just gave them a good run at their place, that says a lot. Because Atlantic, in my mind, was one of the toughest teams in this area. I mean, just on paper, right down the line, they were tough as nails. We shouldn't have been in the game with them. We were up 6 at the half.
Your mentality changed.
We took it down there. So these guys got a little more confident, and they started. And once they realized, holy wow, we can really play with some of these guys. And then in the DeLand, we played at DeLand, even though we got crushed the first time. At the end of the first quarter, we're up 19-18. We're down at we're down at halftime.
That's crazy.
We're down at halftime, but these guys knew that the only reason we were down because we just had a burp for 2 minutes where we turned the ball over and we gave up offensive rebounds to their guards. Was one of our 3 things that we focused on defensively that night. And every single time, the turnover turned into a score and the offensive rebound turned into a three-pointer. These guys knew we were down by 13 at the half, and we cut it to, it was almost a 3-point game at one point, or even a 1-point game. It was... Again, these guys started getting their confidence up, and they're able to do that night in and night out.
Well,
We got a Facebook question for you, Coach. Who would win in a match, you or Instano, which is Max's dad?
Instano, wow. Well,
That comes from Joe.
Coach Joe
In a one-on-one basketball game, huh?
One-on-one.
well, since I've got the mic, I'm going to say me.
I'll say
Take the mic over there.
Roman says Roman. Coach Tramont says Tramont.
I would be disappointed if either of us said the other would win. Probably as we're older, when you get older, then it's okay to say somebody probably would beat you. But when you're a competitor and you step on that floor, you're the best thing that ever played this game.
People think I'm crazy. I said I'm better than LeBron James. Now, whether
Yes, you are crazy.
Yeah, but
you
I
have
don't
to
care
believe
who I play
You
against.
have to believe
if you
that.
think you're not as good as them, you're not going to ever win.
Absolutely, and I've had this conversation with Max before as well, talking about the mentality you have to have out there. I could never, even to this point, ever bring myself to say that Michael Jordan is better than me. If I did, while I'm playing the game, I'm not stupid. I know who Michael Jordan is.
The second greatest
But
basketball player of all
the
time.
greatest basketball player. I'm never going to
Second
come on your show
greatest.
again if you.
That's why Joe wanted you on here. LeBron is the GOAT, and Jordan is number 2.
LeBron is goat cheese. All right, he's not the greatest to
See,
ever play the game.
listen.
Far too many flaws in his game. He's a subpar ball handler at best, subpar shooter at best. He can make a layup in traffic. Congratulations. He's the Shaquille O'Neal of guards.
Tell me when you're done, Coach, because I'm ready. All right, so I'm going to act like I have stuff written on here, even though I know it all in the memory. LeBron James is the first ever 30,000 points.
You can quote all the
8,000
stats you want. Yeah, I get
rebounds,
that.
8,000 assists. Jordan is more accomplished. Get it. 6 for 6, rings, and if you think he's the GOAT, you're not crazy. I understand. Everybody pretty much thinks he is. But when you look at an overall player who does absolutely everything and elevates others, that's why I think LeBron James is the better overall player. The way he elevates others. Jordan was the favorite in every single...
He makes other people better? Are you kidding me?
is this a discussion?
Who does he make better?
Everybody.
No, he doesn't make anybody better.
I can tell you don't watch the NBA now.
I watched enough to know that
Come
that
on
LeBron
now.
James is not a guy that makes other people better. makes people want to leave Cleveland. That's one thing I've seen.
Everybody wants to come play with LeBron.
Really?
Just because it doesn't work out.
Kyrie Irving.
Okay. Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Dwayne Wade was already there. But
Oh, yeah,
why
by
did
the way,
Chris,
thanks, Ray Allen. Thanks,
Why
Chris
did-
Bosh.
Steve Kerr hit game-winning shots for Michael Jordan?
Yeah, off an assist from him, not after 3 turnovers that
Oh,
Michael
my
Jordan made, and air balls.
Dave,
that,
you're going to help
that
me
was
out. You're a
shot.
LeBron guy, and now all of a sudden you're
Shouldn't
getting
need any
quiet
help.
over
He's the
there.
greatest in the game, right?
LeBron James is a better passer than Michael. Okay, crickets. That's a yes.
No, I think he
LeBron
is. I think
James is a
LeBron's
better rebounder
passer.
than Michael Jordan. That's a yes. LeBron James is a more versatile defender than Michael Jordan. He can guard the 1 through 5. Jordan's a better perimeter defender, I'll give you. So that's 3 categories for LeBron. And the way he can impact the game is far more than what Jordan had. Jordan, when he left the Bulls, they went from 57 wins to 55 when he retired.
I've heard all that as well. I know. Yeah.
So if LeBron leaves the Cavaliers, they go from 50 wins to
6-0.
20.
6-0.
If you
That's the stat I'm going to keep ringing at you.
But, Coach, you know this more than
6-0.
anybody. If you played against people in a state championship game that you know you're the favorites to win, those 6 wins aren't more impressive if you beat a team that had an NBA
Here
quality
we go
player.
again. Yeah, Michael Jordan didn't play against anybody.
The 73-9 Warriors he beat. This Warriors team I don't think he'll necessarily beat. But if he does beat this Warriors team with Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, you're telling me that doesn't notch him up in your
That
book?
would be impressive.
Okay, I won tonight. I'll live with that.
That would be impressive.
I didn't think I didn't think I was going to get you to say that.
that
but as
would
long
be
as you say
that would
that's
be
impressive.
impressive.
Okay,
Yeah.
as long as I know Coach
Yeah.
Tramont can see that,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Too bad he wasn't able to win with Dwayne Wade and Ray Allen and Chris Bosh.
Oh, he did win.
Yeah, and he lost too.
One last point, I swear. Would you rather be a first place guy with a whole bunch of fifths or thirds, or a guy who has some first place but a whole bunch of second place awards? Why do we punish getting second place? If we go to the state championship,
Because second place is the first loser.
but
I've never strived for second.
neither do I. But Jordan also has a whole bunch of losses in the
Go
Eastern
big or go
Conference
home.
Championships. So do we not count like those are actual losses?
Because he had to actually have battles to get to the finals. He actually had to play some tough teams. New York, Detroit. I mean, good gracious, Boston.
Indiana.
He actually had to play against people.
Max, what
the
do you
Eastern
think about
Conference
this?
today, he may as well be playing Florida Christian
Really?
or Rollins College.
Wow, this can go for another hour. So you don't think you don't have a say on LeBron or Jordan?
I don't watch NBA.
You don't watch NBA either.
He's
It's too
out
much
playing.
crying nowadays. They
Wow.
cry too much.
Do you watch college?
Yeah, because they're
Who's your
trying
team
to
in college?
Duke.
Okay,
I love
got
Duke.
2 wins tonight. Duke, and he thinks LeBron's great.
I love
He's the
Duke.
greatest.
Nah.
In Florida, the Gators.
Well, I want to appreciate you guys coming on, Coach. You know the impact you had on my life has been more than I could ever say. Just it goes past basketball. You taught me about being a good person, to be honest. And Max, you are the 3-point record holder, and you will forever have that. And I want to shake your hand, sir, for coming on. You're always welcome to come on, and I want to say good luck to you guys in the next season. We'd love to have you on in the future. And if you guys want to listen and subscribe to this podcast, it is on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio now, Stitcher Radio, and the Facebook page. Isn't that right, Sean?
Yep. There's Spotify.
I didn't say Spotify?
Nope.
Wow, we're on everything I don't even know. Spotify, and now like the Facebook page to join the Locked In group, Locked In community, which is a group. I nailed it. All right, appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks
sir.
for having us. Good luck tomorrow. Or no, when is it? Tuesday. Good luck, Mainland. Good luck, Coach Hamm and our
Coach Hamm.
girls. And good luck, Father Lopez. Father Lopez girls, I believe they're in the Final Four as well.
That's right. Yeah, representing.
The
Thank you guys.
386.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
All right, we're back with the halftime report. Max, take it away.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you listening. We are the People's Podcast. I hope you really appreciate and support Coach Tramont and Max Oles for Spruce Creek Boys Basketball Program. But now we have, representing the first ever Final Four appearance in Spruce Creek girls basketball history, Coach Hamm himself. And do we have any other side notes?
I think that sounds good. I just want to make sure you guys can call us at any time. 386-516-0495. If you have a question for Coach Hamm, for Max, for JT Money, or for me, yeah, call. We're ready to listen.
Don't forget about produced. You can also text that in. Send us a picture. Keep it clean, though.
Keep it clean.
All right.
Or don't.
All right. I
All
hope you
right.
guys enjoyed this.
Spruce Creek, let's get it.
We are live on Facebook. We are in the studio. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, all of that. YouTube.
Every single goddamn app on a phone, we're on it somehow.
We're on it somehow
We're
now.
on
Doing
Twitter,
big things.
Facebook, locked in. We're everywhere.
Google image.
Dunkin' Donuts gift card, we're somehow in it.
Sean, I don't know, by the way, introducing Sean, our producer.
Yep.
Starting off on a wrong note. I don't know if my headphones are a little
No,
high or...
that was me.
Oh, okay. Making sure. Anyway, that's our Sean, our
Sean, the
producer.
producer.
That's our Sean.
JT Money makes the money behind the scenes.
Wow.
Also,
He makes money?
well, it's just
What?
JT
What?
Money.
I
He
make
has the
money?
fresh cut from Wicked Cuts, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
To this episode, we're going to break down the Spruce Creek girls basketball program. They are going into the Final Four, almost like we
Lakeland.
predicted it on Locked In. And we're going to talk about Dirty Zaza in the NBA.
Oh, great player, guys.
Cool?
Yeah, we're good. Coach Hamm, second time on the Locked In studio guest. This is a record. We love it.
How do you feel tonight?
I feel great.
Are you more excited to be in the Locked In studio or that you're going to the Final Four?
I'm more excited than in the lockdown.
There we go. All right. I like it.
Okay. Like I said, all right, Max, all script, but kind of on script.
Okay.
We went to the Magic game, the wife and I, like a week ago.
Yep.
A little Christmas present. They played the Knicks. So I was at the Amway. I'm there all the time. I love it. It's one of the best arenas in the world. And the Magic's lineup was complete garbage. Awful. Like just horrendous basketball lineup.
Like we could take them in this room right
yeah,
now.
I think, if we had a bench, we would be all right. But I thought about it, and I was thinking, who is the Magic's greatest player of all time? And I think there's literally 4 legitimate options. And dude, you're the best basketball player of mine. I know. I know
Oh,
Coach
man.
Hamm. Oh, I can go live on that computer too. I'll take over. Coach Hamm, I
Sorry.
know he's got a great basketball mind. I got 4 options for you guys. The best Magic player ever. Nick Anderson. And he maybe wasn't the highest high, but longevity. He was the first pick ever from the Magic. Long time. Shaquille O'Neal. Maybe in his peak of the powers.
Mhm.
But didn't stay there. He wasn't. When everyone thinks of Shaq, you think of L.A.
Yeah.
Tracy McGrady led the scoring 2-3 times as Orlando Magic, but they were a really bad team. And then my last option is Dwight Howard, who they went to the NBA Finals with Dwight, had a good 7-8 years. At the beginning was a little rough, but he was super young. So I think Dwight Howard is in the top 4. Max, who's the greatest Orlando Magic player ever?
Of course, I have to be complicated. I can't just answer the question straight up. I think there's a couple ways to determine who's there's 2 ways to look at it.
Okay.
Who was the most consistent in that organization? Like the greatest Miami Heat is Dwayne Wade, but the greatest talent to go through the Heat was LeBron James. So if you're asking me what was the greatest talent or just what was the greatest Heat, like as in Dwayne
The
Wade?
greatest Magic player ever. The greatest Heat player ever is Dwayne Wade. It's
Okay.
not even a close
So?
second.
In that argument,
No, Wade's got 3 championships as a Heat.
I'm going to say
Mike,
your mic's on a stand. I'm going to say the greatest Magic of all time is going to create some hate, but I really do think it's Dwight Howard.
oh, I think it's Dwight Howard as well.
Yeah, I think Shaq's the best talent to go through there, but Dwight Howard was the stayed there the longest and produced the best numbers.
Coach?
To me, you're missing one because Penny Hardaway had a great career.
That's what I was gonna say.
Penny Hardaway has to
Hardaway.
be.
He was a beast.
I got
Oh,
a
he's
rookie
like Nick
card.
Anderson?
Yes.
Oh, I put him in my head. I thought you did say him.
No,
No,
I had
he
Nick
didn't.
Anderson because I thought Penny he's kind of like, he was there a year after Shaq. So he doesn't have the longevity of Shaq, but he was always Robin, Shaq was Batman. And then he didn't have a longevity. He didn't have 12. Guys, Nick Anderson was on the team for like 14 years, leading score.
But if you say Nick Anderson, you got to say Dennis Scott.
I was going to say, Nick Anderson was my favorite. Dennis
Nick
Scott.
Anderson getting a lot of hate.
Oh, no, Nick Anderson is my favorite Magic
Okay.
player of all time. He's my favorite Magic player.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think Hardaway is definitely up there.
So, but do you
But-
have Penny as the best ever, or is
No,
it
I would definitely go at Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady? Okay.
T-Mac.
He's the most electric, I think. Like the most entertaining player is Tracy McGrady.
Oh, in his prime, he was
Yeah, but if you think about
33
it,
a night.
if you think about it with Tracy McGrady, if Tracy McGrady had Grant Hill
Yes.
healthy in his
Yeah.
time, they would have made a run, and then Dwight Howard would have never played for the Magic.
I agree with that.
This is the greatest off-script question we've ever had.
You like that? Like, it was just crazy. I'm at the Amway on my 4th or 5th beer. I don't know. I think it was the 4th, I hope. And I'm like, who's the greatest Magic player ever? Because usually I think it's easy. Name any team, I would go off the top of my head. I think 98% of all the teams you can say Dwayne Wade, best Sixer ever, Julius Erving, best Blazer ever, Clyde Drexler. You can just nail them.
You think Julius Irving's definitely over AI?
That's what I was just
I'm
thinking.
about to say, like, you're like, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good debate.
I agreed that.
This is the whole goddamn show.
you started something.
We got to go to Creek.
But real quick, seriously,
Okay,
you started something because Julius Irving, I think, left the biggest imprint on the NBA. So I would say him. But it's not definitely. I could easily make an argument for AI.
Maybe he didn't win a championship. I know Dr. J did win a championship there. And AI left a little bit,
You got AI?
bad. I got to look into that. That might be AI. That's a 51-49.
I like AI.
All right.
Back to the Magic though. The best player to ever play for the Magic.
No, just the
No, I'm
best
just-
Magic player.
No, I'm saying
okay.
the best player to ever play for the Magic, Vince Carter.
It's not bad, actually. No, it's Shaq. Guys, Shaq's
Yeah,
a top
about
10
it.
player ever. But
I'm
no,
just
we
saying,
like
he didn't
Vince
get
Carter. He's a
mentioned.
part
I'm
of the
saying-
3-8-16. Vince Carter will be
3-8-16.
on Locked In soon, so I'll say
Yeah.
Vince Carter.
Yeah, big up to Joe Giddens. What's up? He's got a big game, too, coming up.
Sounded a little weird. I don't know why. Anyway, so let's get into
Let's get it.
the meat and potatoes. Coach Hamm, Spruce Creek girls basketball head coach.
Final four.
The first time ever, am I correct, that the girls basketball program is going to the Final Four?
Yes.
How does that feel as a coach? Is that just a breath of, what's the saying? The breath,
Fresh air?
breath
Breath
of
of fresh
relief,
air?
or
Sigh of relief.
okay. Anyway, is it just you could sit back and relax, or are you just so amped on winning the state title? Are you enjoying the moment, or are you just focused on the next?
I'm just focused on the next. Like, I'm just trying to approach it like it's another game. Not so much about, like, what's at stake right now. Just, just trying to be real simple, not trying to make it so big.
Mm-hmm. Who do you guys play in the Final Four? Who's your first matchup?
Orlando Oak Ridge.
And how do they look?
They're pretty good. I mean, they're decent. They have size. They have a really good point guard. They got a good wing player. I mean, it's just crazy because, like, I coach travel ball, so a lot of the kids on Oak Ridge played for me travel ball.
So you know their
within
games
my
in and out.
organization. Yeah. So, like, the assistant coach, he's one of my really good friends. Like, we're not talking right now because it's like,
Yeah.
so it's like we
Oh,
talk
man.
through the year.
Trying to win that ring.
Yeah, we trade film. He had my huddle. So as soon as we won, I texted him. I said, hey, I got to change my huddle password. You can't get on it anymore. So
Wow.
so it's like a lot at stake just Friday night because we know each other.
This is pride.
I like it.
Whenever
It
you
makes
see
it even
him,
better.
whenever you see him, be like, yep, I beat you. But then if he beats you, you just got to avoid the eye contact.
Exactly. And I got to hear it all summer.
You can't think that way. There's no way they're going to beat you guys. I got Creek in a win. That's all.
I can't say-
I'm just moving forward. I got the W for Creek. I'm taking that negativity out of the room right now.
All right, I was going to save my Locked In, but okay. Anyway, so you're obviously focused on this game and kind of realized the question I had wasn't the best one because every team in the Final Four got there for a reason. So every team you play is going to be legit. So do you think going forward you guys are the underdog? You guys are the favorite. How do you approach that? Like, how do you settle that in the locker room?
I don't think Friday night, I don't think we're the underdog. We win Friday night, we're definitely the underdog depending on who we play. If we play Miami High on Saturday night, we're the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
If we play Deerfield Beach, I think we're the favorite. So, just to me, I tell them, people don't think we should be here. So we just got to continue to prove people wrong that, we deserve to be in the Final Four.
Well deserved. Well deserved. And did you make an arrangement for Locked In to be there at Lakeland? It was part of my Locked In from past episodes. I said we're going to be in Lakeland, so I'll have to talk to that management.
You put him on the spot already.
We don't have the suite.
Yeah.
We don't have the top story suite. Like the roof.
Have a
key,
bleacher
including-
section. This is Locked In section.
That's awesome.
The best thing I can do is pass on the court side seat tickets for court side
Ooh.
if you guys come.
I'm pretending to be picky. I'll take anything. But no, that's terrific. You're really representing. We've had obviously, we've had a lot of coaches in around the area, and all of them talk about how we just want to change the culture locally, and we want to make basketball known. We want people to support it, pack the gyms, kind of how Orlando is perceived to be. And I think you are definitely doing that. To be able to go to the Final Four, I don't know a lot of people that could say that. And for you to do that for Spruce Creek High School and all the coaches locally, you're putting 386 on the map. Literally putting them on the map. So I think that's terrific, and you obviously earned it with that Coach D'Antoni offense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, 30-1 with Chris Paul, Capella,
And James Harden.
and James Harden. Sorry, pause. That was a good playoff.
So, Chris Paul's is good now, Max?
Did we ever get you on this debate? I said
No.
Chris Paul has underachieved through his career. I think he's a phenomenal player. But until now, he has underachieved. To be an all-time great point guard and never get to the Western Conference Finals, I think is atrocious when you have two All-Stars on your team. But I said him going with James Harden, him going to the Western Conference Finals is expected. I know he'll do that with James Harden, but he underachieved this far. Is that a crazy statement?
Yes.
Thank
I've
you.
had people agree with me more
That
than
is
not.
absolutely crazy madness. It's the scenario, Max. We literally said this word earlier. He was drafted by the Hornets, one of the worst franchises ever. They got traded, sold, Hornets, Bobcats. I don't even know what team. I think they're the Pelicans now, I think. Then he went to the Los Angeles Clippers, the worst franchise of our lifetime. Worse than the Knicks. They were awful. They've been awful. Chris Paul elevates Blake, elevates DeAndre Jordan. They go to the playoffs 5 years in a row for the first time in the Clipper history. Maybe could have won another playoff series or two, maybe. But, guys, he's in the West. He's playing against Duncan in the Dynasty, Kobe and the Lakers in the Dynasty, Dirk Nowitzki in the Dallas Mavericks Dynasty, the Golden State Warriors, maybe the greatest team ever. This is who Chris Paul's playing in the first round. There's no gimmies. If he's in the East, he's in Eastern Conference Finals over and over and over again. Chris Paul, two-way player, pass, defense, shot, one of the greatest point guards ever.
And if you think too, right, if the Lakers trade would have went through,
I said
he would have
3
championships easy.
3. Him, Bynum when he was healthy,
Kobe.
Kobe when he was in his prime.
Paul Gasol.
Yeah, they would have won 3, 4, 5 championships, and
Easy.
none of this would have been. It's just the scenario, the situation. He's still an unbelievable player. Even
I'm tearing
Charles
this up.
Barkley never won a championship. Carmelo never won a championship, but they're still all-time greats. They're unbelievable.
Okay, so let's talk about that's your statement, right? That's your argument. I'm tearing that up. Like, listen.
Hold on, one second. Guys.
Yes, sir.
Coach Joe's checking in right now from Facebook.
Okay.
He says he's proud of you. It's well deserved. Bring home that championship.
Damn, let's go.
Coach Joe, I love you, but you still can't shoot.
Coach, I defended you. I said
Joe.
I said every time I played you, you could shoot the lights out. I don't know what it was. It was like just when I guarded you, you could hit. So I'm saying you could shoot, but I can still beat you one-on-one. But
Coach Joe, we still love you, man. They're just eating you alive over there.
No.
Thank you for being the locked in guest. Good luck tomorrow night. I know Malin's got a
Friday
big
night,
game.
Friday
night. Man, guys, I got 2 kids. Work is love. I don't know what day it is right now. But Coach, good luck.
yes, sir. Let me break this down.
Okay.
So let's talk about the top point guards, right? We have Magic Johnson. We
The
have
greatest point guard ever.
And I won't necessarily go in order, but Magic Johnson's obviously the greatest,
Sure.
first to come to mind. Jason Kidd's up there.
Jason Kidd's a great point
John
guard.
Stockton's up there.
Okay.
Who else would you say is up there besides Chris Paul, obviously?
Isaiah Thomas is up
Isaiah
there.
Thomas.
I think
Okay.
he's a great point
So
guard.
we just mentioned 4 all-time great point guards.
Yes, sir.
All 4 of those point guards have been to the finals.
Okay.
And you can argue that, John Stockton didn't win because of Jordan. But he did get to the finals. We could say Jason Kidd didn't win a championship. Well, he did with the Mavericks, but he got to the finals. Magic Johnson, we all know, got to the finals.
Okay.
Chris Paul has never gone to the Western Conference Finals. And if he's an all-time great, he's judged on an all-time great scale. He's a phenomenal player. I think he's going to be an all-time great. But if you're judged on an all-time great scale, you look at the minutia details. That's right, minutia details.
You used that word wrong.
No, I didn't. And I know how to spell it. I looked it up today. I knew I was going to be on the podcast.
If Chris Paul got drafted by the Detroit Pistons, he would have been to
Damn.
3
minute
NBA
details.
Finals and 5 Eastern Conference Finals.
Listen, but that's
He got
shoulda,
unluckily
coulda,
drafted
woulda.
to a horrible franchise in the West. That's
Shoulda,
not his
coulda,
fault.
woulda. We don't live in the if world. If LeBron James was drafted by the Lakers, if LeBron James, he was drafted in Cleveland. If Carmelo Anthony was drafted by the Nuggets, he went to the Western Conference Finals.
Okay.
That's not a great franchise.
I'm cutting it. You ready?
I'm not even done. That's
I'm
the
cutting
bad
it.
part.
Watch
I'm
this.
already tearing it up, and I'm just getting started. Like, that's the bad part.
Look, if you want to say Chris Paul maybe is not on a all-time level, if you want to say that, or if you think Chris Paul is like, hey, Dave, I think he's the 6th greatest point guard ever. Okay, if you want to say all that, but this is the argument. This is your word that you keep using is underachieving.
Yes, I will, and I'll continue. Because if you're an all-time great point guard, you need to get my team to at least the conference finals. I didn't even say win an NBA ring. I
It's
just
the
said
West.
to the.
Now he is going to go to the Western Conference Finals this year. He's got
Yeah,
good
he
players
went with
around
James
him.
Harden. That's why I said until now he's underachieved. You have Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, 2 All-Stars with you, and you can't say he didn't have a supporting cast, and you can't say he didn't have a great
He
head
didn't.
coach. What?
Thank you.
Because
I'm not a Blake Griffin
Blake
fan, but he's
Griffin
an
and-
All-Star.
Is the
Blake Griffin and
Yes.
DeAndre Jordan are the same player. They
Yes.
do the same thing. They rebound and dunk.
Yep.
At
And
the
Chris
end of the
Paul
day,
elevated those.
in the league, you have to be able to shoot the ball.
Yes, sir.
Which his supporting cast was J.J. Redick,
Who shoots the ball?
Jamal
Who
Crawford.
shoots the ball? The greatest 6-man of all time, with Doc Rivers.
You're talking about a 6-man in the West, Max. You're talking
Yeah.
about going through 3 dynasties.
But if that roster,
he was on the Clippers before Golden State Warriors was a dynasty. Let
But
that
if-
be noted.
that was
But if-
Tim
but
Duncan
look,
and Kobe the Lakers.
if that roster was in the East,
Kobe and
Yes.
the Lakers
They
sucked
would go
when he
to
went to
the
the Clippers.
finals.
They would go to the 4 NBA finals.
Lakers
They
were
would have
not-
beat Cleveland a couple times.
let's say if you took Cleveland's roster and you put them in the West.
Correct.
Let's say you took Miami Heat with LeBron and all them and put them in the West.
3 NBA finals, not 7
How
straight.
exactly?
Yeah, they
like
don't make it
LeBron
every
wouldn't
time.
have been every year, whatever.
Even if that statement's true, I'm just saying the conference finals. I'm not even saying the finals. I'm talking about being
You're
in
just-
the
that's just
conference.
a sticky
James
detail.
Harden has gone there with no All-Stars.
What's
Not one All-Star on his team.
What's
Not
an
one
All-Star,
former
Max?
All-Star. Not one All-Star.
is
None.
DeAndre
And
Jordan an All-Star?
You say James
Can you
Harden,
turn me
right?
up one time, please?
But James Harden has also been in the Western Conference and punked out and didn't play well.
I'm sorry, James Harden?
Yes.
But he's also been to the Western Conference Finals. He's also putting up better numbers than Chris Paul put up. Chris Paul is a great player, but if you want to be listed as an all-time great, you have to get to the Conference Finals. I don't
He
see
will.
how that's a high...
Okay,
I'm
so
not even
what?
saying you have to win a
So what
ring.
about this? So what about this? And I think this will smash everything right here.
Get him.
What if Westbrook never gets to the Western Conference Finals for the rest of his career?
And it's going to happen.
2 things.
To be probably honest with you, he's not going to get through Houston and
So-
Golden State
Okay, I
and
can
San
answer that.
Antonio.
Does he now go from being one of the best point
Yeah,
guards to
underachieving.
underachieving?
2 things. One,
the
I'm not
word.
One, I'm not the biggest Westbrook fan, so you're not hurting me. 2,
The MVP
is
triple-double.
he actually... A couple things. He
And he's
won...
a great guy.
He won an MVP, which Chris Paul has not done. And wait. When we look at an all-time great, you look at the tiny details. We're talking about all-time great. So
But-
you're going to be
All-time great
Look,
point
West-
guard. I'm not saying
wait,
Chris Paul's a top 5, top 10 guy.
Russell
not
Westbrook
saying that.
has averaged a triple-double in a season. Chris Paul has never done. Ever came close. Has an MVP award. Chris Paul does not have. And technically has been to the finals as well. And you're going to say he was the B guy. Chris Paul's also the B guy behind Harden. So he's done that. Chris Paul hasn't. That's right. That's a victory right here. When you guys both get silent, that's because you don't know what else to say.
No, I know what to say because the thing is, with Chris Paul, you talking about his whole body of work. His whole body of work in his career isn't underachieving. His whole body of work puts him as one of the best point guards to play the game.
And I think his talent and body of work is, but he's underachieved as far as
His
his
roster's been underachieving.
Listen, let's talk about this. So Anthony Davis puts up the best stats, right? And if he continues to go this course, he'll break records. If he never gets to the Western Conference Finals, that will be a blemish on him. And he is underachieved.
So that means Kevin Garnett, if he never goes to Boston, he spends his whole career.
He would have underachieved because he never did anything.
Kevin Garnett?
Kevin
No, he
Garnett.
went to the
Garnett's a top
Celtics.
20
Yes,
wherever. Okay.
because he's on the Celtics. We're said if he didn't go to the Celtics.
Without Boston. Take
He-
out Boston's
he
career.
said he
Him
didn't-
in Minnesota. He's a top 25
said-
player to ever play the game.
Dave, you're definitely missing the whole point. He said if he didn't go to Boston, that's his championships, that's his best
Yeah.
moments. Kevin Love wouldn't be an all-time great if he stayed in Minnesota just
ready?
because he puts up the best numbers.
Yes,
he goes
Sean,
to Cleveland and he's
I
a
have
champion.
something, but Sean?
Steve Nash
What about him?
never played in the finals.
Has he underachieved?
Dominique Wilkins
Has he gone to the
never
Western?
played in the finals.
Wait, has he gone to the Western Conference Finals?
Western
That's a
Conference
sticky-
Finals. Never got
Oh,
to
Chris
the-
Paul hasn't even gotten there.
That's a
That's
sticky
right.
detail.
That's right.
Kevin Garnett.
And wait, has Steve Nash won an MVP? Oh, he did.
2.
Chris Paul hasn't. Every example you put up, they have something on them.
But we weren't talking about MVP. We were talking about you're talking about making it to the finals and stuff. And
Yeah,
and I'm just-
underachieving. If you're not going to go to the finals, you have to have at least have awards. He doesn't even have those. Let's just be real. I'm tearing your argument up.
You're not at all.
I am.
Because he hasn't won an MVP, he's underachieved.
And actually went to the Western Conference
crazy-
Finals. Hasn't gone far in the playoffs.
So,
And
Max, that's like 16 people in the human race.
that's why they're all-time greats. Not everybody is.
But that's what we're not saying.
That's why it's a handful of people.
Chris Webber.
But
The Mount
I didn't-
Rushmore is only 5 people.
I
right?
didn't start
4,
this
5?
argument saying that Chris Paul is an all-time great. But he has definitely not underachieved. A kid that
So
played
can
at a
you-
Wake Forest.
Tim Duncan played out of Wake Forest. That doesn't mean anything.
I'm
He's
just
the
saying, like-
greatest power forward of all time.
I'm not saying anything. I just said where he came from to play New Orleans. He was actually drafted by Charlotte. Then they
LeBron
went to
came
New
out
Orleans.
of Akron. Doesn't matter where you come from. It's about what you do.
It's crazy. It makes no
Hamm
sense.
goes to the Final Four. He's achieved.
Kevin, and by the way, there were Kevin Garnett real quick. His best moment was not Boston.
I agree, but
His
he
best
won championship
when he was the
with
MVP
Boston.
of Minnesota, and he brought Sam Cassell, old Latrell Sprewell to the Western Conference Finals in the West. He carried a team. That's
Western
Kevin
Conference
Garnett's
Finals.
One
Chris
time.
Paul hasn't done
So-
that. I'm telling
Chris
you.
Paul still got 6 years to
He
play.
will because he's with James Harden, and
But-
that's what I said
no,
until
no.
now.
So when
But
he
When he goes
But you
there,
keep on
I
saying
won't
with
say he
James-
hasn't anymore.
How, Chris,
but will you say that
Chris
he's
Bosh-
one of the best?
What? Right
Point
now?
guards.
Yeah, he is one of the best. I'm just saying he's underachieved. And that's why I think he's underachieved, because I have him on a high pedestal, because he is one of the all-time best. And
you keep on saying with James Harden. You know that Chris Paul, James Harden never won anything without Chris Paul.
he went further with
So
him
what
than
do you-
Chris Paul did.
So one round further than Chris Paul.
Means
so
a
when
lot.
Chris Paul, when they go to the Western Conference Finals a couple times together, them two, it's not just, oh, James Harden's everything and Chris Paul is a
I
C
understand.
minus player. I'm
I
just throwing that
understand.
out there.
I said he's a B.
I just want to throw out there that I'm just glad that you recognize that the furthest that the Houston Rockets is going to go is to the Western Conference Finals, because they're going to play Golden State and get slapped.
Before we get into the Warriors, just one last thing. One last thing.
They got a shot.
Coach, okay, one last thing, Coach.
They got a
Chris
shot.
Bosh,
Yeah.
if he stayed in Toronto, would not be a Hall of Famer, but he put up tremendous numbers.
He would be a Hall of Famer.
Yes,
No,
he
I
would.
could argue he would not be. If you don't do
a 10-time
anything-
NBA All-Star would be a Hall
Okay,
of Famer.
wait. But now the fact that he won a championship with LeBron, it's not a question, because that championship means something.
Either
You're
way,
acting like
he was
it's
going to be a Hall of
nothing.
Famer.
You're acting like that's nothing. Him going and doing something in the playoffs definitely takes you further.
As the third player.
Oh, you just made your point that it doesn't matter. Oh, he's a B. You're acting like he's a C player. Bosh, if it wasn't for him getting that rebound, LeBron doesn't have a ring.
No, I understand that, but you're saying if Bosh stayed in Toronto and be the A-plus player, the number one guy, they were making it to the playoffs, and he was all-star numbers. He had like 5 or 6 all-stars in Toronto. So if he would have continued that, he would have been a 10, 12-time all-star, made it to the playoffs 10 times. That's an NBA Hall of Famer.
Okay, I'm just saying him going to Miami boosted that because he went further. So Chris Paul going further helps him. Craig G going to the Celtics helps him. Even though he's putting his best numbers in Minnesota, if he doesn't go to Boston, his legacy isn't the same. That's what I'm saying. A championship solidifies you as something else.
I think Bosh is the 14th best power forward, and Chris Paul is like the 5th best point guard. So I just think that they're in totally different levels.
Oh, I agree. I think
Okay,
Chris
okay.
Paul's way above Chris Bosh.
So
It's
we-
just an example of that your best numbers necessarily don't mean that it was your best moment in your career.
And championships don't make the player. They don't. I mean, I know it makes a big difference, but just because somebody doesn't have a championship doesn't take away from it. And that's
think
why
it
that
does,
was
to be honest.
that was my
I think
point.
it
Was
does.
that was
Really?
my point with
Yeah.
Steve Nash though? He never made it to the finals. Yeah, he made a Western Conference. He made MVPs, but he never won that
Yeah.
championship. Dan Marino in the NFL, he went to one Super Bowl. He has almost all or at least had all the quarterback records. But then nobody talks about him not being the greatest, even though he lost the one only Super Bowl he ever made it to.
I'm not trying to say you're not a great player if you don't win a championship. What I'm saying is,
But did Dan
winning
Marino
a-
underachieve?
What I'm no,
Did Steve
what
Nash
I'm-
underachieve?
Look, what I'm saying here. By the way,
that's the word I stick
by
on
the way,
still.
he went to the Super Bowl. Chris Paul hasn't gone to the finals. Anyway,
Well, Nash didn't
what-
make the finals.
Okay, but Nash also has won MVPs, which Chris Paul has not. Anyway, back to my point.
There's
I
only
don't
2
even
MVPs
remember-
every year.
Don't even remember what it was anymore. But a championship definitely helps elevate you. If Charles Barkley won a championship, you could seriously make the case he's not better than Tim Duncan, but the argument with Karl Malone may not be one.
And right, I said it doesn't. It elevates, but it doesn't make the player.
Okay, agree to disagree. A little bit. But can we talk about the Warriors?
Yeah, we can talk about the Warriors. I know that's coach's team. you know.
Zaza, even though that's your team, should never play again in the league.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, he definitely was a dirty player, and that's not right. There's
He's
no
a
place for it.
dirty player, but there's a spot for him in the league.
Absolutely.
And
not.
there's actually a legitimate spot for him on Golden State.
Do you agree?
Golden State gets a little bit of that grit from Zaza, gets in Westbrook's head a little bit, takes a charge, elbows people, sets picks, and that's what Golden State kind of needs for 12, 15 minutes. Nothing major. He plays 12, 18 minutes a game. That's what adds the Golden State's probably another championship run.
And my argument to that is, you do need a dirty player. You need someone to do the dirty work. You need someone to give hard fouls. I don't mind if you hard foul them going up for a layup. Yeah, it sucks, but you're a presence. But when somebody is down on the ground and you fall purposely just to hurt his legs, that's not a dirty player. That's a bad person. Like, that's not a good team move. And just because the mic is in front of you, don't act like you didn't say. You're not surprised they didn't release him.
I was gonna say that. Like, I'm surprised they didn't release him, but I'm not gonna say he shouldn't be in the league.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a step for that's a little far.
Yeah,
I'll admit that.
Okay,
But
I was going to say that's a little far.
isn't-
And you ready that people in Golden State like that Zaza did it? You don't think they were like
Yeah, because Kevin
behind
Durant
closed
won't do it in
doors?
person to Westbrook because he knows Westbrook would knock him out. That's why they want to do it.
Behind
No one
closed
cares about
doors.
Zaza.
Westbrook
Yeah, but that's just like a coach. You be like, I wish I had that kid.
Yeah.
That would be like, hey, listen, I need you to go and take that kid out.
Exactly.
Like,
So
Every team wants that player.
what's going on?
Dennis Rodman.
See, you guys use this Dennis Rodman example, and it's so out of context. Dennis Rodman is arguably the all-time greatest rebounder, was a great defender besides his dirty plays, and will go down as a Hall of Famer. Zaza didn't put up any type of numbers that Dennis Rodman did. Doesn't rebound the way Dennis Rodman did. Doesn't play defense the way Dennis Rodman does. All he doesn't have in common is that he fouls dirty. I could do that. That's what I'm
No.
saying. I'm not Dennis Rodman.
That being true, all what you just said was true, but there's still a spot. Dennis Rodman was still for 8 out of his 30 minutes or 8 out of his 35. Chippy,
I could say
dirty,
that's Draymond.
sets picks.
Draymond's more like Dennis
No,
than.
dude, Draymond's so skilled, bro.
Oh, I
Draymond
agree.
can
But
shoot
for this
pass.
team and how much he means to him is how much Dennis Rodman meant to the Bulls.
I'm just, okay, Golden State is run the smartest in the whole NBA.
Agreed.
Okay. They are run so dang smart. Their salary cap with great players. They all share the ball, pass and wins. They shoot. If he wasn't valuable to the team, they would. Like Coach Hamm just said, he'd be like, guys, Zaza, we're going to let you go. We're going to release you. You're not a valuable asset to a championship team. They would let him go. He is. And I know that you might not like it or it might not sound great. Like, is he really? If Zaza tore his ACL, I still think
still
Golden
win.
State still wins. But he's an asset. He's valuable to the team.
He's more valuable than having like that soundboard. I understand. He's more valuable than nothing.
This is valuable. We
I
would
know
be here
that's why
without
it's
this.
questionable. That's why I said he is more valuable than that soundboard. But my thing I'm saying is they didn't have a lot of money in the cap space. That's why Zaza is on there. Like, don't get me wrong. He was not their first option. So I'm not saying he doesn't play a role on the Warriors. But what I'm saying is what he did, there's no room for it. Like, that's beyond a dirty play in my book. Like, that's hurting somebody. And there's a difference between going up and fouling hard, but actually contesting the layup and playing basketball. Maybe throwing a little elbow here and there, but landing purposely on somebody's knees. I just don't think there's no room for that. If I were to do that, I mean, yeah, we're cousins. I know that. I wouldn't do it to you. But if you saw me do that to somebody, you would pull me to the side and be like, Max, what are you doing, bro? Like, you could hurt somebody by doing that. That's not even a basketball play.
Well, I would.
That's not something
And,
you
know,
do.
I would say that to Zaza as well. If I was on the team, if I was Durant, whatever, be like, don't try. I don't like ever trying to hurt another player. I do want him to set a hard pick, give him the elbows, get in someone's face, even maybe engage, get a technical back and forth, that kind of thing. Yeah, I never wanted him to hurt another player. So I don't want that. but he is. I think some guys on the Warriors are like, okay, I like that. You know, get a little grit.
I'm expecting Hamm to get my back over here. So you think Hamm has a place?
Zaza.
I mean, I'm sorry, Zaza. I think you'd be better than Zaza. To be
He
honest,
has a
but-
place. He got a place. I mean, because you got to think. I'll take it to college basketball. Look at Grayson Allen.
Yep.
He can actually play.
Like,
Dribble.
but this is my point though, right? That happened. The Westbrook thing happened last week, right?
Yeah.
This week, how many times?
Yeah, 40.
Oh, you could
Did
look at
you-
a whole highlight reel of him doing dirty stuff.
But listen, what I'm saying though. But this week, how many times have you heard them talk about Zaza? You really haven't like that. With Grayson Allen, they were talking about it every single day.
But he didn't intentionally land on
Who?
somebody's knees.
But he intentionally kicked somebody in the nuts.
Yeah. That.
Hey, Grayson Allen's locked out, by the way. If
Yeah,
he
no,
doesn't like him
no.
the same
I
way.
already locked out Grayson Allen. The tripping thing is worse than what Zaza doing.
I'd rather get tripped any day than have a 7-foot guy land on my knees because my knees can end my career. If I
Yep.
trip, it looks embarrassing.
Okay. So you're hating on Zaza, right?
Yeah.
He's 7 foot. He's fallen down. He doesn't know if he's going to fall exactly on his knee, his hip.
He knew exactly what
Like
he
the
was
kneecap
doing.
I
Vicky
can't
saw
side
the
with you.
manipulator on
Come
that one.
on,
He
Dave.
did that. He
Looked,
did that on purpose.
he looked at his knees and fell.
I don't know the player, but the other guy's foot didn't hook the back of his knee.
That's
Nick Young?
not nearly enough to tip over a
Nick Young?
7-foot, 250-pound plus
He-
man.
You're not expecting it?
Nah,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Sean, I ran into you like that by accident. You didn't even realize it. That wouldn't knock over a 7-foot
I'm a
man.
beast.
Exactly. Zaza is proclaimed the beast of the team. Like,
he
come on.
fell. He fell into him on purpose.
Yeah, like if it was by accident and I had an idea that it was by accident, I'd be like, okay, he's just clumsy as crap. But that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Coach Hamm, how can the public, everyone that's watching on Facebook Live, how can they get information about trying to go to Lakeland? Let's fill up that Gym 4 Creek for you. Is there anywhere to get tickets? Is there anywhere to contact you guys or the school itself to get tickets, kids, everyone like that? I know locked in, Facebook Live, I know people are watching.
You can go on the FHSA website,
Okay.
and you can go to the girls basketball page on Florida High School, and they have tickets online. I think you order from $10 online.
That's a great
or
deal.
you can pay $10 and stream. And so if you pay the $10 and stream it online, you can actually, if once Mainland gets to the Final Four, you can watch those games as well.
Oh, so it's like a one-time deal, $10.
$10 is for it's for 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
Coach, if I can get those tickets, can I get a live interview from you after the game?
Maybe.
If you're in a good mood, of course.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, really, like I have to do all interviews
What do you mean?
at the Final Four. Like win or lose, they make you do live interviews.
Oh, wow. I'm
So
not
you
talking
have to
about it
do
live.
it,
This is
right.
just me and you, you know. You're cool with me. I'm cool
Oh,
with you
yeah.
in the back in the locker room. So
Oh
okay, cool. So then I'm going to have to go. Locked in will have to be there. Do you have anything else you want to hit, touch on, promote?
No, just come out and support. If you can't come to Lakeland, and you want to go to Tampa, go to Hillsborough, and go support Mainland boys. I mean, I think that's a big game. I think to be honest, for Coach Joe, it's a lot at stake for him because, I mean, think about this: if Coach Joe takes Mainland to the Final Four,
Yeah.
His first year. As
his
the coach.
first year, and win it, either get there or win it.
Woo.
Does that put him as the best coach to coach in Volusia County?
That just started the debate.
Wow.
That just started the debate.
Wow.
Because he would be the only coach
Wow.
/ player, I think, to ever coach and have played in the Final Four.
Why didn't you lead with this? This is amazing.
Wow. I
didn't
can go
even
2
think of
hours
that.
on this. Guys, Joe Giddens, stud coach. Just talking to him. We talked to him for an hour. His details. Every time we're like trying to like talk to him about a basketball question, he's like, "Nope, I care about the kids. I care
No,
about their grades."
Made me feel like a bad
Yeah,
person
it's
because
like,
I'm so
do
interested.
the little things, and he had like acronyms for everything. It's like I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth
DTLT.
twice, and I do good things for kids. It's like, God, man, this guy's a great guy.
Yeah.
It's like I just give an iPad to my son and like, grow up, son. I'm going to work.
Yeah, but I think what Coach Joe's doing is like you said, never been done before. And he knows he has the support from Locked In, and we're going to have to go to both games now. So
That's Mainland's Friday night. Coach
And we're
Hamm.
Friday night.
Oh, both Friday night?
Yeah, we play at 6. They play at 7.
So you go to one, I go to the
So
other.
trust me, I wanted to I'm like, dang, why we couldn't play at 5? Because I would be at the game. But for me, we're in the Final Four, so it's like we're there.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. Win, lose, or draw, we're there.
Yeah.
But I think for him, and I know he's not thinking like this because he is about the kids, he's about his program, but I think that puts him as the best coach, high school
Wow.
coach to coach in our area.
As far as just basketball or football, everything, because we all know he played football as well.
Yeah. I think just coaching, you could say coach in general.
You honestly could make that argument just because of what you said, to do what he's done. And I told him this. I was like, everybody has an opinion about a coach. When I first went to Atlantic, I had disagreements with Coach Joe. But you can't argue with facts, like how Chris Paul hasn't gotten to the finals kind of thing. It's like
my God.
Coach Joe left Spruce Creek.
Wait.
Goes to Mainland. And
So
they're
if
all-
Joe Giddens, if Mainland doesn't reach the Final Four at Lakeland, does he underachieve this year?
it's his first year as a coach.
Yes.
If Chris Paul got drafted and was in the second round, no, he didn't. But this is still early in his career. Give him 20 years, and if he hasn't reached the Final Four, then maybe we could talk about.
See,
But he
that's where
has.
we disagree.
He's going to the Final Four this year. We know that. So this argument doesn't exist.
That's true. I know. I think Mainland's
So,
going to win the whole
my
dang
whole
thing.
point
Just give
is-
the ball to Johnny Brown. Just
Co-
give it to him. Feed him.
Coach Joe goes to Mainland. All of a sudden, they're en route
Yeah.
to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Like that, you can't argue with
And
that.
then you
That's
got to
what I'm
look,
saying.
too. For myself and Coach Joe, we had the toughest routes because, one, both of our teams blew it in the district championship game. And if you think, if we would have won the district championship game, we would have hosted all 3 games. If they win the district championship, they host 3 games. We both had to go on the road, and we had to win 3 games in a row on the road. So, for us, it's like we had the toughest road to get there. That's tough in itself. At the end of the day, I wonder how many times has that happened in the history of Florida High School, where teams went on the road, went and won 3 games, got to the state championship, and even get there and win it.
Wow.
You know?
Maybe a handful, maybe at most.
So obviously, in a perfect world, both teams win it. If both teams win it, is it fair to say that 386 is back on the map?
Yeah.
That's 2 state titles.
Oh, yeah. It's coming, too.
And
It's
does
coming.
this mean in the future of your organization, the future of your program, and the future of his program, do you guys run 386 for years to come?
I think so. I think more so for him because, I'm on the girl side. So, on the girl side, the issue is, for me, if you look at, this is my 7th year at Creek. So, my 7th year at Creek, out of 7 years, I've had Jayla Adams, who's going Division I. I've had Brianna Laitler, who went Division I. I had Jewel Montezano, who went D2. Ireland Davidson go D2. Rashanti Bailey going JUCO. Danica Hamilton going JUCO. Yoga Tesson going to Rollins, which is a D2. So, and if you look at my body of work as a coach, if you go look at FPC, if you go look at Armani Walker at Bethune-Cookman right now, Chasmin Brown, Tamara Hanshaw over at USF, I've coached those kids. I've coached them travel ball. I've coached those kids. So if I'm a kid, I'm thinking like this: why wouldn't I want to go play for him?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if my dream is to go play college basketball,
You got to go to Creek.
if you take my phone and compare my phone to a lot of these coaches in the area, and you type in the word coach, when I type in coach, it's not just Coach Joe, Coach Howard. It's coach from FSU, coach from Miami, coach from Florida, coach from here, coach from there. I just had a coach text me yesterday about a kid that lives in Orlando last night. Text me last night, hey, coach, on my way to Joe's game. Hey, I'm trying to get such and such. Oh, I say, coach, she's already committed to Rollins. But see, the girls, they're like, we want to beat Creek. Like, you can continue to beat us, but we're still chasing scholarships and championships. And that's always been my motto since the day I got at Creek. For Coach Joe, if he wins a championship, he going to be able to get any boy in the area. Everybody's going to want to go to Mainland.
And I mentioned this. Is it crazy to think? I wish I would have done this in high school. I wish I would have recruited the best high school players and convinced them to go to one school. Do you think that we'll ever see that? Like, if Mainland wins, you mentioned he can get anybody. Do you think that?
I think on the boys' side, you could see that. You wouldn't see it on the girls' side, but I think on the boys, like it's certain kids that wouldn't just leave. Like, there's like Atlantic's best player isn't gonna just leave Atlantic to go play at Mainland.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if you got that second, third tier kid, they may leave New Smyrna, they may leave Atlantic to go to Mainland, because right now Mainland is the hottest thing right now in boys basketball.
And then
so
you get so deep, you'll be 8, 9, 10 deep.
yeah, so like I think like it's a lot at stake for both of us, but like for him it's a lot, because like his whole legacy. Like right now, that can be the biggest thing. Because at the end of the day, me and Coach Joe, we talked about this before. Like, this may not ever happen again. This may be my only opportunity to take a team to Lakeland. This may be Coach Joe's only opportunity to do this again. So at the end of the day, if you do it now, this could determine everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's been done. Coach Butts has went to the Final Four twice. Lopez has been to the Final Four a couple times.
Yeah, they're going too.
They're going now. So so like for me, it doesn't put me in the upper echelon. For Coach Joe, it puts him at the top of the food chain.
Wow.
We have 3 local teams that are going to be in the Final Four.
Yeah, we had Calvary Christian.
4.
Girls.
I'm on, like,
Yeah.
Of course, Coach Joe wants to focus on the team now. I'm assuming that they win because I think they will. So you have Mainland, Creek, Lopez, and Calvary.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that
2
3
boys, 2
isn't.
girls, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Oh, Calvary.
3 girls,
3 girls,
1 boy.
1 boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talent.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you look at all these teams, like I was telling the Calvary AD, I told him, I said, listen, like, they played City of Life. And my wife texted me and she was like, you're right, City of Life is so good. I said, I told you, because Asia Harvey plays travel ball for me. Deborah Buggs was on my travel ball roster.
Wow.
Omega Payton played on my travel ball team. So when Calvary was going to play City of Life, I'm like, this is a done deal. Like, I know these kids. I know what they bring to the table. But at the end of the day, guess what you can never take from Calvary? They went to 2 straight Final Fours. They've won 5 district championships, 3 regional finals. Like, you can't take that away. For Lopez, like, you can't take away, like, what Lopez, I think, out of all of us, has the hardest road, because in the Final Four they play a good Choctaw team, and if they beat them their award is, we're going to play Fort Myers. Destiny Henderson, who is going to South Carolina, and then they arguably have the best 2021, which is 9th grade post player in the state of Florida. And they call her Shaq, and she can shoot the 315-footer.
Should be at UConn.
So, yeah, like, she's
UConn.
that good. Like, she's that good. So
she'll post me up.
So, like, at the end of the day, but guess what you can never take away? Like, you can't be Mainland girls and be like, oh, y'all lost, but yes, we lost in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. Like, if we lose, like, at the end of the day, you can't take the fact that
Final Four
you made it to the Final Four at the end of the day.
One last question before we get locked in. For me, I don't know about you, but
that's good. That's good.
Coaching AAU obviously has its benefits. As you mentioned, you just know so many players. Is coaching AAU, like, what's the difference? Is there a huge difference between your coaching method in AAU than it is high school?
Yes. 100 times different. Because, and I hate to say this, like, how I coach AAU, I would get fired at Creek because of how tough I am, the things that I say. Oh. And this is different. I can get away with a lot of things in AAU because the parent, when they say, hey, I want to come see the director of Smack Florida. Oh, okay, here I am. So, what I'm going to do, fire myself.
That's a great point.
At the end of the day.
You have nobody to fire you.
Exactly. At Creek, I want to go see the AD about Coach Hamm. Okay, Coach, we got to get you out of here. And, that's different. And a lot of my kids, Jayla, who plays from Yoka, they'll tell you, they're like, man, Hamm is 100 times tougher with us during travel ball than he is high school. Like, I'm tough high school, but I'm like 0 to 100.
So you can't be mic'd up during your practices at AAU.
No, not at AAU. And, like, at the end of the day, but it's production. Like, we get it. Like, I get it done. My organization gets it done with the guys that I work with. So, we pride ourselves because we've, all of our kids go to school. So we really, hit our kids hard. Every organization has its issues. We're not the best organization. It's, you have a lot of organizations that's a lot well-ran than we are, but we pride ourselves on, getting it done, getting the kids in college. So, yeah, it's
I think
a
that's
lot
the best
different.
end goal, to be honest, is just further your education, I think, is the most important.
Exactly.
Trophies are nice, but education will stay with you forever.
Do you know, like Jayla Adams, I want to say this real quick. Jayla Adams said to me over the course of just the last 2 weeks, how many people told this kid, I never respected you until now? I had a coach tell me, like, hey, coach, I talked a lot of stuff about you, but they got better. And I'm thinking in my head, like, so what you figure, kids come to Creek and don't get better? Because, like, they get better. I took a lot of, like, when Jayla committed to FAU, I took a lot of slack that she went to FAU. But the thing is, it's about the fit. See, a lot of kids want to go to Florida and go to Florida State and go to UConn and go to all these different places. But she went somewhere that fit her.
Yeah.
She had a Temple offer. She had all these different offers. She could have got bigger stuff, but she didn't do. She wanted to be herself. So it was basically like, this is who I am. If you're going to recruit me, take me for what I am.
And that's when you succeed, is when you're in a system that is fit for you.
Yeah. And the system that she's going to that, like her future head coach. When he texts me about her, he runs that D'Antoni system. That's where I got it from her head coach, from her future college coach. He said, you know who I want her to be? I said, who? He said, I want her to be my Steve Nash. So, like, at the end of the day, she's going to a perfect system where she may not play right away. She'll have an opportunity to, but she's going into a perfect system because guess what? We're running it right now. And if you go look at her numbers,
that's awesome.
If you look at her numbers
don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
That's awesome.
And she's being very productive. So, it's tough. Like, for me, like I know, and I said this the last time, like, I know when I took the job at Creek, I pissed a lot of people off. Like, I pissed a lot of coaches off because I talked a lot of crap. Because you got to think, when I took the job at Creek, people don't know, I was 23 years old. So when I took the job, I talked a lot of crap. I started getting the better kids, but so for me, it's a lot of pressure because it's like, you got the best talent. That's what people say, oh, Coach Hamm's not a good coach. He just got all the best talent. Yeah. But guess what, though? Name me a team that win championships don't have the best talent or the best team.
You won't hear me say anything.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing.
Yeah, Steve Kerr.
That's a part of it.
He's a really good coach. They got the best team, but it's a perfect fit. Kerr and the Warriors. So, yeah, no, I agree with that.
John Gruden just made all that money from the Raiders.
I don't know about John Gruden.
No, I'm just saying. He took a Tampa Bay team, won a championship, couple years later got fired. Now he's probably the highest paid NFL coach.
He's overpaid, I think.
I'm a Bucks fan. I think that was partly Dungy's team that he took that first year. He had a lot to do with it, obviously, because they played the Raiders. But I think he's been away from it too much. And
Yeah, me too.
I don't think he has the
There's
passion.
no huddles, right?
I don't think he lost the touch. I don't think he has the passion that he did when he was before. Like, I don't know if he's because the work ethic he had, and that's the reason why he walked away when he got fired per se, is because the time that he put in to the coaching was stressful to him. I don't know if he has that same mentality to coaching.
How much money they pay him?
Yeah, you'll
It
have the
doesn't matter.
mentality for anything. No.
But what I'm saying, I think the money is what brought him there.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's the passion that brought him there. That's my point.
Good point.
Yeah.
When he was younger and he was that youngest head coach for
Yeah.
Oakland, did that for Tampa. I think he still has a passion for the game. Obviously, he loves the game. He's I love hearing him commentate.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's going to coach the same level as he was before.
You know how you lose passion?
There you go, holding the mic stand. What's up?
$60 million. That's how you lose passion.
Yes.
But wow.
I can be passionate for $60 million.
Me too. What?
I can be passionate for like $5,000.
Me
but I mean,
too.
Nah.
You know,
Not a year.
I'm passionate about high school for this little bit of supplement that I have. If you up
Yeah.
my supplement, hey, give me $10,000 and see. And see.
Supplement up the passion.
AD to Creek. Come on now. Give
Come
Coach
on.
Hamm a
Final
little
Four.
something.
What he's
Final
doing.
He's that
Four.
Final Four
A
bonus.
little bonus. Come on, guys. 7 years, scholarships, and championships.
If you're watching,
Yes.
all we
Ships.
need is
You
5
know you're
minutes to
watching. They're
convince
locked
you.
in.
All about the ships.
But
Okay, Cuzzo, you ready to get locked in?
yeah, I just
Coach
wanted
Hamm?
to make sure
Okay.
Coach Hamm, Spruce Creek girls basketball head
Yes,
coach.
yes.
So in case, where do we watch the game and how? One last time.
FHSA.org. Click on the girls basketball link. Scroll all the way down, and it'll have the link for you to stream the games. I think it costs about $10 to stream the games. It costs $13 to get in the game, so you can watch it in the comfort of your own home.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's
And
awesome.
By the way, you know what it almost costs around like $13? It's like $15, $16. Locked in shirts.
Nice.
Shop.spreadshirt.com/locked-in/ buy a T-shirt. Oh yeah, 2 N's in the locked in.
And one last commercial before we get locked in.
Okay.
YouTube. We are going to be live streaming or experimenting our live streams on YouTube. So
I
people
love to
who
experiment.
turn this off. No, but no. But for the people who don't have Facebook, like I just created one. It'll be a neutral location that everybody can go to. YouTube, watch Hamm live. You know, the fresh Stetson. Oh, no, that's not even a Stetson shirt, is it?
Oh yeah, this is JU.
I had the. Okay, with the fresh shirt, the fresh tee.
My Stetson fan might be mad at me, but I gotta give Coach Yo.
I like it. So subscribe to the YouTube page, Locked In. Also like us on Facebook, like the Facebook page and the Locked In community, which is the group where you can debate that Chris Paul is underachieved or whether he did, which he did. And there we go. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Twitter,
Everything you can find us.
Instagram, Dunkin' Donuts, $5 gift cards for me, iHeartRadio, Spotify app. Hit your phone, listen to us
All right.
all the time.
Let's get locked in. So I think this is the first time I'm going to say all three of us may have the same locked in. Never been done because I know what mine is.
Mine's different.
None different.
Okay, never mind. I thought it was.
Was that your locked in? 'Cause you're wrong already.
My past locked in was that you'd go to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
My locked in is that you win the state championship.
I'm gonna take it.
I was right last
Cause
time.
you was right last time.
I'm telling you. I'm not just saying it because you're here. I'm not just saying it because we like you.
That's awesome.
I'm saying it because I mean it. Because you speak with the knowledge you have for the game isn't just about coaching and doing this. You actually think about the system you have and why it works, how it works, and you think about why your players excel in the way they do, and that will win you a state championship.
Okay. You want me to roll next?
Yeah.
My locked in is that all the success, we talked about Joe Giddens a lot on this episode, all the success that Coach Giddens is having this year is nothing yet until the future. Like, I see nothing. He's like this.
So you see Atlantic going second, you think?
Now, all I'm saying is, hey, maybe Mainland next year wins the whole state championship. Maybe 2-3 years he's the coach of University of Alabama. All I'm saying is that Joe Giddens is on the rise as a
Agreed.
coach.
Completely agree.
Big up to Coach Joe Giddens.
My locked in is that Mainland will win Friday night.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that. You could have easily said something about your program, but you're just unselfish.
That's my locked in.
Okay.
I like it. They're actually going to go to the Final Four, go to the championship games, which Chris Paul has never been a part of.
Conference. It's like a conference final game.
Yeah, which Chris Paul actually hasn't been to. So, all right, everybody. So
I got a headache, guys.
make sure, like always, you guys stay locked in.
Yeah, you now locked in with the best. We ain't rocking with the rest. And when it's game time, we gon' put you to the test. Come to ball, we hitting it, kicking it, though we dribbling, passing it, though we running over. It's the ring that we flip you in. So what's the news? You want the scoop? You gotta keep it locked to David Max podcast through your speaker box. What's poppin', my friend? You know the drop in. And the only thing left to do is keep it locked in.